Some of you may think this is a terrible thing to do. We've got a hammer, crowbar, pickaxe. Smashing a light bulb. Ah. We have been to a reclamation yard today and found some beautiful bits of timber that we're going to be using for shelving and for the fireplace hearth. So we've got 3 pieces of ash timber, and as you can see, it's not just a plank of wood, it really is a beautiful bit of timber. You can still see all of the bark from the original tree, proper beautiful bits of timber. And then we also have this massive piece of oak here, currently sitting at 2.4. We're going to cut this down. This is going to be going over the arch, just slightly higher than the arch on the fireplace so we can still see it. So originally I was going to use scaffolding boards to create the shelving in between the chimney and the wall, but after going to the salvage yard and just having a look around, I think these have just got a lot more character. So we're going to sand these down, stain them, bring them right back to life, and we're also going to find the best edge that we want to see from the sofa and then when you walk into the room, and we're going to cut off the back edge, which isn't very nice, so it sits square up against the wall. So lucky me, it's time to hop back on the rotisserie sander and go from 40 grit all the way up to 240 grit on 3 of these shelves. So cue the music, let's get started.
When I was young, my daddy said, gotta keep one eye open in your bed, 'cause there's a time coming when the devil gonna come for you. So my trigger finger, stay prepared. I've got my weapon and I got my prayers, 'cause if you don't run this town, they'll walk all over you. Run out loud, gotta run on. Keep on running till the sun goes down. Run out loud, better run on. Run all day till you can't.
So we've got a gap of 1 metre, 245 mil, which is where the shelf's going to be going, in between the fireplace and the other wall, like I mentioned earlier. So we're just marking out the best sections of the wood now. Obviously, with it being just natural wood, it does have some inconsistencies in it and a couple of marks here and there. But what we're really after is trying to keep this really nice natural bark which is already on the wood. So we're whipping off about 40 mil there and 160 mil here. It's got a tiny bit of damage there, but in all fairness, that's just going to leave us with some nice characteristics still off the wood. So we've got our sandpaper set, back to more sanding. Right, we've finally finished making our shelves from the ash we got earlier on today. We've currently got quite a lot of varnish on them because obviously they're going to be shelves. We want them to just be wipeable and quite clean. Still need to cut them down to length, hence why this part's not sanded, that part's not sanded. But overall, I am absolutely buzzing with how these have turned out. They look bang on. So every single one has just been sanded. You can see the underside. Still need to stain that and everything like that, but it's about to hammer it down. So we're going to get these inside and leave them to go off for a couple of days before we cut them to length and then get them installed.
Well, every bird, bee and tree sing a song for us. We are ramblers of our own device. In the dunes and desert forest.
With the shelving done, just needing to be cut down to size, and we also need to hang them, it's finally time to start on the timber mantelpiece going onto the fireplace just over the arch. Yesterday, I picked up a very large piece of oak from the salvage yard. This cost 20 quid. 2.4 metres long, 200mm wide, 100mm thick, and it weighs an absolute ton. Obviously, it's not going to be full length. We need to cut it down to size. Again, what we're doing is just examining the timber now, trying to find the best parts with the most character in. So in all fairness, I'm kind of feeling this middle section to this left-hand section. It's got a lot of character, and if you look on the top side, this is going to be the top. It's also got like quite a nice groove coming through. So we're probably going to cut this down and give it a few bashes because we want it to look even more rustic. So we're going to take a hammer to this and just give it a good beating. Then start sanding it, staining it, and then in a couple of days we'll get this cut down to size and installed with the shelving. So with the timber cut to the size we actually want it, we're now going to start using a few tools just to beat the wood. So at the moment you see how it's all square. What we want it to look like is a bit more rounded and rustic. So we've got a hammer, crowbar, pickaxe, and all we're going to do is just basically beat the wood and make it look a bit more rustic. At the moment it's all square, so we're going to try and get rid of some of these square edges and just make it look even more rustic. So we've beat the living hell out of this piece of timber. Some of you may think this is a terrible thing to do to a lovely piece of oak, but do not worry. We're going to bring this really back to life now. So we're going to get out the sander and get sanding on this piece of oak for probably the next couple of hours. Right, there we go. We've got it all sanded down. Same process as yesterday, starting at 60 grit, working our way all the way up to 240 grit. So this looks pretty decent in all fairness. Really happy with the results. Really nice, lovely bit of oak. Tell you what, I am absolutely buzzing with how this piece of timber has come out. That is absolutely beautiful. I've used a dark stain on this and it's really brought out all the grains of wood. It looks awesome. Really glad I just beat it a little bit as well, rounded off some of these edges. got the shelves ready to install. So a little while ago, my dad turned up, as he is a joiner as well as a plumber and a sparky, and cut some grooves. Initially, we're going to hang them with owl brackets, but that would probably just be a bit too much clutter on the wall. So he came up with the idea of an invisible method of hanging the shelves. So we have already pre-drilled our holes, and now we're about to install some screws. The screws are going to slot in this little groove we've already cut, and I've also taken the head of the screw off with my grinder. So fingers crossed these go up all right. So we just used a 7mm drill bit which I threw into my combi driver, and then I'm also putting the screw in the combi drill as well, and we're gonna tighten that down and then just drive it in to the wall. So they're hanging out just enough to catch the groove, hopefully. So we're going to put the next couple of screws in, and then fingers crossed this shelf fits perfectly. Right, so with 2 shelves installed, that's where we're actually leaving it for shelf. We've got an extra one, so at a later date, if we decide to put one in, we've got one to go in. Now, it's finally time to install that beam I finished making yesterday. So luckily for us, the previous owner of this house already had an oak beam installed, and he left us these brackets. All these are basically massive raw plugs that you install, and then you end up drilling in basically a bolt end, and then you allow yourself to screw in these. So you leave the bolt end sticking out, a bit like what I did over there, and then you just screw these in. You can see how the hole is actually off center. The reason why, when you stick a level on, you can see, if you come in close here, you can see how we're a tiny bit low on the level there. But if I twist it around the other way, if I get it right, go on. There we go, it's pretty much touching now. So that's the reason for them being off center. So we're going to tighten these down, which I've pretty much already done. I've worked out that the beam is 200mm, and ideally I want 100mm worth of this arch showing. I've already done my marks to divide it. So 200mm roughly, 100mm marks. What I'll do, I'll connect these up, so that's the centre of the beam, and that's where I'll end up drilling my holes. So if I line this up and give it a pencil line. So that mark there is centre of the beam, exactly where these will be sitting. And now I just need to find out exactly where those holes are. So what we're going to do, we're going to run our tape measure and just find the centre of every single one of these. And now with that marked, all I do is transfer those marks, what I've just put on the tape measure, to our beam. I've got a lot of lines on this tape. We've got the first hole going there, second hole there, third hole there, fourth hole there. So we just need to do probably a 10mm drill into that at the depth of what these stick out the wall, which is 90mm, 95mm, 95 mil. We'll make one we know to be safe. Drill some holes and then slot it on. So fingers crossed that works. We've got our holes cut. This side's the top, hopefully. All the measurements are right. Go to truth. Right, with a bit more persuasion and smashing a light bulb in the process, we have finally installed our oak beam over the fireplace. Now, I don't think it does look out of level. That's just the brickwork. I can assure you that this beam is bang on level. There we go, we've finally pretty much wrapped up this room almost. So we're gonna big tidy up, finish decorating the